Man, let me tell you, there's nothing like going to the movies, buying an $8 ticket, getting some popcorn and a drink, and somehow the total rounds up to $101.
With cheese, Mr. Squidward.
But it's all worth it when you have just viewed a cinematic masterpiece, and for the most part, a cinematic experience. Now, what I'm about to say is just my opinion, so don't go to the comment section and go, wow, I really hate this guy, he's stupid. Like, I know I'm not the smartest guy.
I am the smart. Este Marty.
But, just let me talk. A cinematic masterpiece doesn't have to do anything particularly new, but it changed cinema and you were there to witness it, and now it's iconic and everyone knows its name. It's a movie that deserves to be seen at least once in somebody's life. Whether you like it or not, everyone knows of The Godfather.
I did not care for The Godfather.
What?
Did not care for The Godfather.
How can you even say that, Dad?
Didn't like it.
It's arguably the best mobster movie of them all, and I'm sure when people lined up to see it, they knew it was going to be good, and walking out of the movie, they were like, damn, I didn't think it was going to be that good. And it's a masterpiece that is now a huge staple of cinematic history, and it deserves to be. Thelma and Louise, a movie that is so underrated that it's crazy. It's how to do feminism right. While it's essentially another road trip movie, it's a cinematic masterpiece, especially when it comes to writing two female characters. Singin' in the Rain, a pop culture icon that's an absolute classic and set the bar for so many great movie musicals. I love you, La La Land. Then there's Boyhood, a movie that maybe not everyone has seen, but it's a movie that took about 12 years to film. It's a movie about a boy growing up through 12 years, and the way it shows life through 2002 all the way up until 2013 is incredible. It's a cinematic masterpiece. All these movies I'm talking about, their budget wasn't necessarily huge. That doesn't mean that it's not a cinematic masterpiece. A smaller movie like Parasite, one of my all-time favorite films, it doesn't have a huge budget, but the writing of the characters, the extremely tense atmosphere, and the fact that I can perfectly enjoy at home and read and feel emotionally captivated at the same time, incredible. Cinematic masterpieces are iconic. Even if it isn't big, it's still a film that many will remember because it took you out of the real world for a specific runtime, and you were transported to that world the movie was showing right in front of you, whether you're at a movie theater, watching it on the TV, or on your phone. Now, for me personally, a cinematic experience is like hearing a friend tell a story, and you're trying to picture yourself there, but then they go, you just had to be there. And while the story wasn't necessarily good, it was to them, and you just had to be there. For the most part, it has to deal with being at the right place and the right time with an audience. Now, you can actually be alone in the theater and have a great cinematic experience. You could watch Doom by yourself and be blown away by its cinematography. And while I didn't like the story that much, you have to admit that visually, it blew you away on a spectacle level. A true cinematic experience. A movie doesn't have to be great to miss out on a cinematic experience. The Lion King, one of the worst ideas Disney has ever had. It's a movie that's truly
Shallow and pedantic.
Even though it's a weak imitation of the original film, seeing it in the theater where the CGI looks so lifelike is crazy, even if it did take emotion out of the characters. Wow, that was really lame. The first IMAX 3D movie I ever saw was Happy Feet 2. Looking back at it, was it a good movie? Not really, but having that giant screen and the amazing audio making you feel like you were there, it's a cinematic experience I won't forget. Where regular 3D is barely going out the screen, IMAX 3D felt like it could actually grab me.
It looks like Michael Jackson's coming right at me.
Wow, I've used a lot of Family Guy clips this video. For me personally, there's a certain movie that really separates the line of masterpiece and experience. Watching Avatar was an amazing movie experience, but some will say that it's both a great masterpiece and a great cinema experience, but I can only vouch for one of those. The technology that was used to make this film is absolutely incredible, and it's really magnificent, but I don't think the story is all that. It's kind of cliche, but James Cameron went above and beyond and made a movie that was truly meant to be seen in a cinema, and it doesn't hit the same when watching it on your phone. For some people, Avatar was a great masterpiece and a great cinema experience, but for me personally, it wasn't that, but movies like Star Wars can be both. By the way, have you heard the original audio for Darth Vader?
I'm tearing this ship apart piece by piece until you find those tapes. Find the passengers of this vessel. I want them alive!
Masterpieces are what makes the writing of a film iconic, and experiences is when the spectacle is big and you can't believe you're watching it. The Star Wars franchise does this very well and mixes both of these. Empire Strikes Back writing is absolutely intriguing, and the world building is improved, and it has one of the best plot twists you can ever experience with an audience. Spider-Man No Way Home might not be the most perfect movie, but it's definitely one of the best superhero and Spider-Man movies of all time because it's a huge tribute to everything Spider-Man. In my opinion, for a superhero movie, it's an absolute masterpiece, and it's a cinematic experience I will never forget. Being in a theater full of Spider-Man fans, everyone's been waiting for this, laughing and crying with everyone, and it touched so many people.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
The Wizard of Oz is a really good example of having a great masterpiece and an amazing cinematic experience. While I wasn't alive to see it, it's a masterpiece, and I'm sure people who actually got to see it in a theater were impressed with the color and they couldn't stop talking about it. Jaws, Jurassic Park, Lord of the Rings, etc. All of these bigger-than-life movies can also convey strong emotion and are written uniquely. It helps them become more iconic and stand out. Basically, I don't want to call these cinematic master experiences because that's a stupid word, but it's just true cinema.
The bravest pioneer. No budget too steep, no sea too deep. Who's that? It's him, James Cameron. James Cameron, explorer of the sea. With a dying thirst to be the first. Could it be? Yeah, it's him, James Cameron.